नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम. Can someone recollect what is it that we have seen in short so we can quickly continue? Yes, please. Anybody? A brief link has to be established so we can begin. Yes, please.
May I? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So in last session, we started with Shloka where Arjun asks Shri Krishna what is exactly the Samadhi Sthiti, and so Shri Krishna starts explaining that person who is in, I mean, what are the lakshanas? So Shri Krishna starts telling that person in Samadhi is always poised, balanced. He has kind of has control over his anger and fear. I mean, he is beyond it. So he also does not go behind fruits of action or desires or attachments. So at any point in time I mean, he never rejoices too much or never gets attached to the suffering. So in it is not like he does not experience happiness or sorrow. It is just that he does not get attached to it. So he is quickly able to get out of it also, rather than getting drifted with it. Then his sat asat buddhi is always awakened, so he is able to I mean make the right decisions out of it by remaining poised. Then there was also discussion about the roots of desires. I mean, it can happen that when we are trying to go beyond the desires, we can have very harsh or strict self-discipline. But if the root of desires or the seed is not taken out, then at some point in time it will again come back, and we will again lose what we have achieved. So it is important to first understand, acknowledge, and then remove the actual root of the desire, rather than just trying to have that harsh self-discipline. Then it also kind of told ki Gita is not telling you to be emotionless. It is just that asking you not to, go behind the emotions or just take your decision in by being emotional. Then Shri Krishna talked about focusing on oneself. When we talk about oneself, it is actually, you can say, inner Atman or higher consciousness, which then allows you to make, I mean, decisions in a poised way and move ahead in this journey of attaining the higher consciousness. Then he also explained about krodha, because when we have that anger, we are angry. It happens that our memory becomes little blurred. We don't, I mean, take into consideration all the things, maybe what have happened, and we simply go ahead and maybe just cause the damage, which may be irreversible. So yeah, I mean, that's what we so. And also that is the reason Shri Krishna said that we should be actually I mean, controlling our senses. I mean, we should not be acting just on the behalf of senses, but actually controlling them and doing our works in a good way, poised way, balanced way.
Ji, absolutely. And this is what is the essence of yoga. Krishna says, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Yoga is that Samatvam. What happens because of this Samatva? You experience the prasada. And what is this prasada? It is that Shanti, it is that peace, it is that which will allow you to be poised towards everything. Sometimes, good news, bad news, both create a lot of
Both
fluctuations
create a lot of
inside of us.
fluctuations.
And what we can do is when we are in that state of balance, we can access the higher consciousness. And it is always important. I think balance is so important in pressure situations. It's actually most important in pressure situations because that is where you have to quickly take decisions. And sometimes, when the adrenaline is rushing, your mind can't think logically also. But there are times when adrenaline has to rush. But even at that time, your mind must not be out of your control. So that is where you are going to be able to perform actions which are probably what we call divya karma. We will see what they are. What are divine actions little later on. But samatva is the base, is what Krishna is saying. And because of this, sorrow will disappear from life. The yogi does not suffer. He experiences pain like everybody else, but doesn't attach to that pain with what we call suffering. And this is a completely different perspective, is what Krishna says. One running after desires is like a boat. It's in Krishna gives the example of wind. He says wind will push the boat away in any direction. If a boat does not have a rudder, the direction cannot be chosen by the boat. Now the question is, who is in charge? Is it just luck? Is our life going to depend on, "Arey, no, I was unlucky. Wind was blowing this way, so I went here. Otherwise, I went there." Or is there somewhere you have the self-control or you have the ability to transform? A question of fate and free will that comes later on in the Gita, especially in the last chapter. But right now, we get an indication that yes, we do have some opportunity. Sometimes people write their own destinies. How is it? How do they align to the higher force? Or how is it that they manifest that? These are questions which will definitely arise when Krishna starts sharing it further. But he says, anyway, there are two perspectives. One says, run after desires. I have the right to run after my desire. Krishna doesn't say, stop. Or he doesn't say, you will suffer because you're not listening to me. It is just the consequence of desire that a person will be unsteady. That is all. But the perspectives are opposite. You cannot go and tell someone who is driven by desires to run away, stop running from desires, because for him that is the most important thing. My life revolves around this only. Don't you dare tell me anything is what his perspective will be. But then there is the other buddhi, which is able to seek him. No, this is not required. There's something higher. Many times it is said the heart knows. Your inner voice knows what is right and what is wrong. You just have to listen to that. But these are differences. So that what is night for one person is day for the other. What is day for the other is like night for the other. Let us continue. Krishna goes on. 70th shloka. Apuryamanam achala apuryamanam chala pratishtham samudramapah pravishanti advat तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी. Just like when the many turbulent rivers converge and affect not the vast ethereal ocean as they merge, on reaching the awakened stable mind, all attraction dissolves, not for the one whose mind to the senses whim revolves. So if you look at the river joining an ocean, it appears very turbulent. The flow, if you see in engineering, we used to have equations for governing flow, streamlined and turbulent. Turbulent flows are very difficult to control. Well, that is how the river is. It fluctuates before joining the ocean. But after going into the ocean, it becomes peaceful, it becomes shanta. Exactly like that, Krishna says, when you reach that awakened mind, these all attractions which are pushing you in the wrong direction, they will dissolve. And not for that person whose mind is running around the senses. That person's mind will always be disturbed. But this is not the case of someone who has attained that control. Vihaya kamanyah sarvan pumamshcharati nispruhaha nirmamo nirahankaraha sashantimadhigacchati. He who from all desires abstains, the complete detachment in life he obtains. From the senses of ownership and ego, he is free, and ergo, purely at peace he can be. What happens is, when you are not having the ahankar, somebody comes and says you are the biggest fool on earth. What will your reaction be? Well, it depends on the ahankar. If you have a lot of ahankar, say, oh, how dare you call me a fool? You are a fool. Your entire family is a fool. The entire dialogue goes on because somebody has pricked. But why do you have to take that? when you are confident, when you are conscious that nobody on the outside can evaluate you, nobody can pass a judgment on you, where will this judgment make any difference to you at all? You might actually smile, or you might even go, oh, yes, yes, I am, because I'm talking to you, and quietly move away because you are not going to prick your ahankar so easily. Nobody should be able to. But that is when you are free, when you are secure about yourself also, and you are firm on the inside. And such a person is not going to be driven. And many times people are lured by their desires. Somebody wants a promotion. Team leader has found out. That's it. That makes that person most vulnerable. We keep showing, you will get promotion if you do this. Such a person will be willing to work on Saturday, Sunday also, even if all will say, no, no, no. He's going to, in the next meeting, he is going to give a recommendation. When is next meeting? He told me it's on the 15th. Later on, you find out there's no next meeting, and the team leader was just utilizing this person's desire for promotion to make him do more work. And then there is absolute disappointment again, because it is just what we can say, action, reaction, and desires just lead one after the other. I've seen someone pining for a promotion so badly, not promotion, transfer, for a transfer, pining so badly for a transfer, took all the efforts because he desired the transfer. Even did some, yagna because I wanted the transfer. And after getting the transfer, like, this is very bad. I did not want this. We don't know what our desires are leading. Sometimes they say, be careful what you wish for. When you really don't know everything, what's the need for everything to, means he assumed his happiness would come from the transfer, from the outer aspect. But happiness did not come after that, and suddenly he was questioning everything. Why, what, how? Instead, if he was trupta on the inside, all right, I prefer a transfer is fine. But I desire and run after desires, that creates an entire problem. That is where actually it is the illusion of desire is itself an illusion because you feel you're getting something, it creates a craving on the inside. It's like an intoxication, isn't it? What happens to an addict? What is the greatest problem of an addict? It is that desire, isn't it? The desire to consume. And the addict feels if I consume it, I'll feel happy. If you ask the addict, I'll give you this much of your addictive substance on one hand, or you want Ananda. You say, no, I want that addictive substance because it will lead me to Ananda. And that is the craving that is trapped inside. But no matter how much you have, it will not give you that Ananda at all. That is not realized because of that illusion. And that is what Krishna is talking about. And then suddenly Krishna says, if you are able to maintain this throughout life, somebody had asked in our group, isn't it, about moksha? Well, Krishna in the 18th Adhyaya says, Moksha Ishyami Mashucha, don't worry, I'll give you that moksha. Your moksha will be realized by your right karmas only. You don't have to even desire moksha. And here Krishna says, if you are able to maintain this balance in the next shloka, he says, Esha Brahmi Stitihi Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Stitva Syam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvanam Rachati. The Brahma Nirvana, the highest Nirvana of Brahma can be realized, is what Krishna says. Oh Arjuna, in this conscious state awakened, the veil of illusion is forever lifted. If this state, up to the time of death, is sustained, the merger with the infinite is then attained. Well, that's certain if you're able to maintain that consciousness. If you are calm, if you are peaceful. My question is, we've heard Arjuna speak. What do you think? What Krishna is speaking, is it illogical right now? What Krishna is speaking, or it's little too incomprehensible, or is it very confusing? Anybody? Because he talked about Atman, he talked about karma, he talked about samadhi. Is it very confusing? Anyone? About that moha, smriti, smriti is lost, leads to anger, all these factors, what Krishna was saying. Anybody, can you just tell me, was it very confusing or it was understandable, easier to understand but more difficult to practice, or what is it? Anyone? Yes, please.
It's not confusing, sir. He is explaining everything one by one to him very nicely.
It's very nicely explained. It's not confusing. Sindhuji says, all right. Renuji, we were saying something, is it?
In practical situation, if I try to explain to a person all these things, when he's really in the position of Arjun,
हाँ
two things the person will take, and the rest of the things it will be like, don't give me bhashan.
हाँ फालतू में ज्ञान क्यों दे रहे हो मैंने
Yeah.
क्या पूछा है वो
कुछ
दे
तो वो
बता देने
is
यस
palliative, and most of the things is ज्ञान मत दो.
ओके
I'm in a position to just, you please help me out.
Yes, I asked for something. Give me that answer. Don't give me background. Don't give me perspective. Don't give me wisdom also. I have heard people telling I don't need wisdom. And that's a very sad thing to not want because without that, whatever you get will also be lost. But here, as we see, I think Sindhuji says, Renuji, both of them have said the same thing. And I think all of us also agree. What Krishna has told is very practical. Because if you look into our life, you can relate to it. कि अरे yes, क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोह and sammohat smriti vibhramaha. And this entire thing, yes, anger has taken control of me, and that has put me in a state of a different flux of emotions inside of me. I've been confused in my anger. That has led to loss of memory. So it's very simple. But look at Arjuna's case. Right now, Arjuna is not Arjuna the receiver, isn't it? Arjuna is Arjuna the depressed person. Arjuna the what we can, though he has said Shishya Steham, that was a very important step because without that, the Gita could not have begun. Means one good thing Arjuna has done, which can, see him through, is this one step also. But when you say Shishya Steham, it is verbally saying. But there is more to words also, isn't it? Haha, I'll do it. How many times do we say that and we don't do it? Because it is something else. And this aspect of experiencing or practicing is different. Right now, since Arjuna's emotions are there, they are acting like a barrier even for Krishna's completely crystal clear advice. We are in the comfort of our homes right now. We are in the comfort of able to, watch in hindsight and understand. But this is not the case of Arjuna. He is in the middle of battle. He feels now is not the time for all of this. Now is not the time. Now I don't understand. And even the crystal clear advice from Sakshat Krishna is not fully understood by Arjuna because Arjuna, he says, Krishna, you are confusing me. I asked you something, you are telling me something else. Arjuna Uvacha. But at least Arjuna is speaking, isn't it? Better than a depressed, sorry Arjuna who is not willing to even look at anything and lost complete meaning. At least we see Arjuna asking question. Arey, what is this samadhi? Now he asks another question. Arjuna Uvacha. Jayasi chet karmanasते mata buddhir janardana tad kim karmani ghore mam niyojasi keshava. He says, Arey, what you're talking on both sides? He says, Arjuna asked, Oh Krishna, haven't you said what is superior? That spiritual knowledge over material action is better. Then why is it that you coerce me into action? This ghastly karma on me, why do you sanction? Just now you're talking about Atman, you're talking about spirit, you're talking about high spiritual knowledge, you're talking about samadhi, you're talking about shanti, realizing inner peace, all these things you are talking about. Then why are you asking me to do this ghora karma of yuddha? One side you tell me that, see, talk about spirit, be spiritual. Sadhu Baba will do Sadhu Baba's work. Don't expect him to go and do something else. And what is this you're asking me to do? Karma, that to ghor karma. I don't want it. And why are you confusing me is a direct accusation. Because Arjuna is probably a little old fashioned. He feels spiritual line is this side, material line is another side. They cannot be one, according to Arjuna. He confesses, he says, Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nishchitya yena shreyoham apnuyam. One thing is he's clever. He says, give me what is best. Yeah, this is also good, that is also good. No, no, give me what is profitable for me. Tell me one, don't tell me both. He says, my mind stands confused and disarrayed, for it fully understands not all that you have said. Hence, show me which is the correct way. What will benefit you? What will benefit me? I request you to please say. He says, tell me one correct way. Tad ekam vada nishchitya. That which is shreya for me. That which is right for me. That which is needed for me. You tell me one, because I'm still confused. Your entire adhyay of Karma Yoga has not touched me at all. Tell me one correct way, is what he says. Because of this, because people make a divide between the material life and the spiritual life. There are some people who do great dhyana. You look at them and it's like Shiva in the trance. And after the dhyana, my God, it's like all asuras have merged into this one person, and this person is asura after the dhyana. Because here this is something, another is something. But my question is, do you think material life and spiritual life are so different? Should we create a divide? Or have you seen people making that divide between material and spiritual among general people also? Yes, Renuji? Yes, ji.
Material and spiritual life are like the two wings of a bird.
Okay. Yes, so wonderful. Absolutely. But this attitude is not there in many places. People feel this life is not connected to the other life. When I had just finished my engineering, I had found my guru. For me, it was the biggest moment. And I was so happy about it. And in front of me, one aunt of mine, she came to my mother, and a lot of people did give me a lot of advice, even though I didn't say Shishya Steham or I didn't call them my guru. They became self-appointed gurus. But while she was talking, she talked in such a way like, he has taken to spirituality as if I have expired only. The reaction on her face, and I was also watching, oh my God, who is this poor person? What has happened in his life? But no, it was nothing like that. And now it's, say, 12 years down, 14 years down the line, and I don't think anything I've not missed out. And my guru always uses the same word of Krishna, which is yoga, karmasu, kaushalam, perfection in work is spirituality. If you are not following your words, there is no use in uttering those words. You must follow. These are all simple, simple things which is actually indicatory of that fact that spiritual and material life are one. Many yogis have strived throughout their life to establish this same fact. But the mind driven by desires learns to distinguish and learns to divide these two lives. Right now, Arjuna is in moha, in emotions. So he says, and he even declares, I am in moha. Means diagnosis he is only doing. Ki, Krishna, I am in moha, these two are not understandable. Tell me any one. And Krishna replies, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Lokesmin Vividha Nishta, Pura Prokta Maya Nagha, Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam. Sri Krishna said, men of two faiths in this world dwell. O pure one, as I had said before as well, those to whom seeking the eternal knowledge gives satisfaction, and those who believe firmly in the yoga of action. So, there are two types of nishtha. Some believe in the karmas, some say yes, they believe in the yoga of action, and some go seeking that supreme knowledge. They say, Chal, this is not required. I have to directly connect with that high knowledge. That is my only aim. But Krishna goes on. He says, न कर्मणा मनारंभान नैष्कर्म्यम पुरुषोष्णुते न च संन्यस्य न देव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति. There is something called a naishkarmya siddhi that comes on the path as you move ahead. What is that naishkarmya siddhi? You are performing karma but not getting trapped in the flux of karma bandhana. It's like you've got a certain coat around you and nothing is attaching onto it. It's something like that. Means your new sanskaras are also not created. You're not getting trapped in new stories. Sometimes people wonder, Arey, I should have just kept my mouth quiet. I would not have been in this trouble. I did not. Because of what? Because of a default programming, I keep speaking, I just speak that way. That is sanskara. But when a person is a little bit higher, he knows correctly, he's conscious at that time and it doesn't get trapped. And Krishna says here, he says, a state of detached action and works can't be reached without man's beginning and performing the action. Great spiritual boundaries can't be breached by physically renouncing all the works or by inaction. How clear is it? Says you cannot be detached without performing the action. It's like I'm just lying down on the sofa all day. My friend just comes from the rain and says, oh, I just escaped getting wet from the rain. It was raining so heavily. I look at him, yawn, and say, so what? I also escaped getting wet from the rain. Does that make a difference? Arey, I did not go out. There's no chance. There's no possibility of me to get wet in the rain. This person has, gone all the way, done the journey. And so that is really great. So this is what Krishna is talking about. He says, you can't claim detachment without even performing the action. If you are moving away from karma, where have you got detached? You have just not done your duty. Krishna has said in the last adhyaya, abstention of duty is a papa. You will bear consequences of not performing your duty. It is just what we can say, running away. So Krishna says, yes, detachment if you have to, well, perform the karma, only then can you experience detachment. And the second, he says, adhyatmic boundaries also cannot be breached by physically renouncing all the works or by inaction. So this, your sadhana also will not go ahead by just physically renouncing works. You cannot experience higher states of consciousness. That is important. Krishna goes on. Nahi kashchit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karmakrut karyate yavashaha karma sarvaha prakriti jair gunaihi. This is something interesting. This is the nature. What is the nature? Nature is karma only. You all have to do it. And we are all doing it also. He says, Nahi kashchit shanamapi jatu. Not a moment passes. Not a single such moment can pass for man as without engaging in activity exist no one can. This nature's qualities on all beings has been endowed. A bond of works and actions on man has been bestowed. This bond of karma and bandhana has been established by whom? By an entity called Prakriti. What is Prakriti? Prakriti is the counterpart of the Purusha or the divine. The manifesting or the executive spirit of the divine is Prakriti. So that is like somebody has embedded a programming code inside of us. Because of it, we will have karmas and karma bandhana. At all moments, Krishna says, there's no activity that can happen. And nobody can exist without being in a state of karma. Now, for instance, what are we doing any karma right now? Anybody? Yes or no? If yes, what? Yes, anyone? At this moment, we're sitting, right?
We are learning
Anyone?
Gita.
Okay, we're learning it. Yes, and if you look at on the material level, on the physical level, my eyes are functioning, my eyes are working this way. Some may be going for a walk. While walking, they're looking out at the surroundings also, but also concentrating with their ears. Somebody might have had a very heavy meal for dinner. Their body is struggling or balancing that meal on the inside. The digestive process also, what we can say, body is working, heart is pumping blood. So many things are happening at any given time. Why, if you are going to a park right now also and just look at the park, you say nothing much is going on, but it's not nothing much. So much is going on. Some people would be meeting after a very long time. For them, that might be the most important meeting of their lives. Some kids would be playing. There is a dog which is barking. So these are all actions which are happening. If flux of karma is like electromagnetic flux around Hari Om, am I audible? Yes, okay. We were just talking about the network and my network dropped. I think I have a bad habit of jinxing. So anyway, let us continue. This flux is around us and at every given moment of time. This bandhana Prakriti has established between works and actions. We cannot say, even if I say I'm sitting at home only, I will still be performing some karma or the other. This karma happens at each and every moment. If we are conscious, we can recognize it. Krishna goes on, he says, Karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasas smaran indriyathan vimudhatma mithyachara sa uchyate. A way to physically control the senses a man may find, but if he constantly thinks of the senses in his mind, he is caught up in self-discipline's wrong notion. Such a being is beguiled by his misplaced devotion. Means a misplaced devotion of this person is making that person suppress his senses and not transcend them. Yoga is about transcending. It's not about any rigid suppression. But look at the yogasanas also. It is natural progression, isn't it? When your flexibility is not good, you're not going to all of a sudden, chalo, everybody should touch their toes on day one. What's going to happen? There will be people who are not going to be able to do that. But slowly, slowly, as they take Shanai, the step moves ahead one by one. And this is exactly what Krishna is saying. But if you are from the outside, you are suppressing, and on the inside, you are that imbalance is there by creating a divide from the inner world and the outer world. What's going to happen? Such a person is going to struggle, is what Krishna says. And it's a misplaced devotion. If you see everywhere, it's about slowly transcending. It's not about rigidly breaking things. This is what yoga is. It happens naturally, it happens slowly also. If you look at what is the Mrityunjay mantra, is what it is called. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyam Amrutat. From Mrityu to Amartatva. What is the example given in that mantra? Anybody? The metaphor is used in this mantra. The metaphor of what? Cucumber. And somebody will say, let's start eating cucumbers, we'll get moksha because the mantra is mentioning cucumber. No, maybe in summer season it's best to eat it. That's fine. We will not have what we can say, pitta dosha and all of that. But it is talking about the cucumber's plant, means how it grows. And when it is ripe perfectly, you don't have to pull it out. You just touch it and it separates. It separates from the stalk because it is now ready. Just a slight touch. And let me transcend. That is way I meditate upon that great one, the Trayambakeshwar. I meditate upon him who is the master of life and death. Let me, just like this, just like how the cucumber very easily and naturally separates from the stalk. Just like that, let me transform, let me evolve from Amar Tattva from Mrityu to Amar Tattva. Let me go that stage. And so it happens naturally, but it's not something which is a rigid discipline from the outside. It must come from the inside because self-discipline is most important. Outer discipline, nobody, no matter how many people enforce it from the outside, if you don't feel it from inside, it's not going to work at all. Let us continue. Krishna goes on. Yastvandriyani manasa niyamya rabhaterjuna karmendriyaihi karma yogam asaktaha sa vishishyate. He who by the mind controls the senses and is detached, O Arjuna, from all sensual disturbances, and performs all his works and actions in this yogic way, he is considered the most superior person any day. with the mana, bringing a niyantran on the indriyas, but not letting go of your works and actions, with trying to keep a balance. It is very difficult to keep a balance doing a work you do not like. And many times we completely avoid doing what we don't like. But is that of any use? When we avoid doing works, they come back to us sometime or the other. Well, and it comes back in the most unexpected way. Most unexpected way. When you don't want it, also, it comes back to you. For instance, I can think of one work which came to me, which was most unexpected, was studying for chemistry. I did not like it in school. Somehow I managed, but I had not completed my duties towards that subject. A situation came in life that after my engineering, after nearly 8 years, I had to do a BSc in chemistry in correspondence. So it was like clock has gone back, same organic chemistry has come, and this time I have to shake hands and become friends with it because I have been avoiding what was required. So this is what happens in life too, many times. So Krishna says, remember, he says, remember, keep that balance. A person who's able to do his work and action with that yogic samatha, with his mind, controlling his indriyas, not letting his body get carried away by the indriyas. Such a person, he is most superior, Krishna says. Niyatam kuru karma, tvam karma jyayo yakarmanaha, sharira yatra pichatena, prasiddhera karmanaha. Krishna says, without attachment, perform your every action. Because action always supersedes inaction. Even your body's life journey cannot be sustained without action. No accomplishment can be gained. So perform your actions at all times, Krishna says, without attachment. Just do your duties. And sometimes there's a great joy in just fulfilling your duties in the right manner. But if it's a different joy, it's not something which is just superficial, which comes from indriyas, inner santosha, or one kind of trupti on performing a work in the right manner. That joy must be experienced. And why? Because Krishna says action is always greater than inaction. How simple is that? Why should you do action? Because what are you going to get by not doing action? Means one person had asked Namliji with one, he was a, what we can say, he was a judge, and that person would have a correspondence with Namliji many times. And regularly, every morning, just a message home at a particular time. And that was his sadhana, he would get up. This happened regularly for 1, 2 years. One day he sent a message to Namliji. Will sadhana happen by waking up early in the morning? Does sadhana happen because of waking up early in the morning? And Damliji very nicely replied. He said, it does not happen by sleeping also. And there was a big laughter afterwards, they would not talk very often. Just small dialogues, but in that they were conscious. So after a month, he said there was this one particular question in my heart. That question I wanted to, without disturbing you, so I sent you in a short, this one line. And you gave me the answer. I started laughing for a long time and I also got the answer. So this is something without action, no accomplishment can be gained, no karma. What will you do without doing any action? Nothing can be experienced or gained. Krishna goes on. He goes on in the next shloka. He says, what are those actions which are probably greater than the actions driven by swartha, greater than the actions driven by desires? He says, Yajnarthat karmano nyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangaha samacharaha. This is a beautiful word which comes in the Gita, two places. Mukta sangaha. And let us see the shloka first. Accept the actions that are performed in a state of sacrifice, chained to karma's bonds, are all actions done otherwise. That is why, O Arjuna, your actions you regulate with the freedom of detachment that I postulate. It says, see, unless you do an action in a state of sacrifice, it is going to create sanskaras, it is going to create karma bandhanas. You will have no idea how you are going to be trapped in the karma bandhana, the flux which is there. But when you are doing it in a state of sacrifice, this will not work. This seems to be some kind of secret password which is preventing that from happening. Sacrifice. Sacrifice will prevent you from getting trapped in karma bandhana. That is why Arjuna, he says, actions, regulate your actions. With what? With the freedom of detachment. I am offering you a freedom, a mukti. Let that mukti be driving your actions. Mukta sanga samacharaha. Anybody knows the meaning of the word mukta? If you look at the word mukta sanga, can someone tell me mukta?
Free.
Free. All right, I'm Dr. Tanvi. And what does sangha mean, Dr. Tanviji?
Sangha is a gathering or together.
United, you can say, isn't it? Yes. So now you see, they are opposites, isn't it? One is mukta, the second one is sangha. And Krishna says, Mukta Sangha Samacharaha. You are experiencing a free union. Well, what is a free union? You are either united or you are free. But no, there is something like that. It is something which is to be experienced in our life. It is something which is to be experienced in our relationships. It is something which is to be experienced in our actions also. Means you are not bound, you are free, but you are still understanding your duties and you're still going on. Most of the time, people in relationships say, you don't trust me. You are not having, I don't have any freedom. And sometimes some people get freedom and they say, this is too much. This is no, but I was giving so much freedom, and now look what has happened. This relationship has gone down the drain. But the problem is, can somebody give some other person freedom? Can someone deny someone freedom also? No, it is up to the individual. So when will to a relationship be successful? When there is understanding also, but there should also be a freedom, and that is what Krishna is talking about. And Krishna says a beautiful way that yajna, as a state of sacrifice, perform your action. It's all right, swaha. What is the meaning of yajna? Anybody? We all know about the tantric rituals, isn't it? Agnihotra, a yajna is done, a homa is performed. So, what is this? Yes, please.
Sacrifice.
Yes, Renuji? Yes,
Sacrifice.
yes. Yajna. Because what you do in the yajna also when you begin, it's like Agneya Swaha Agneya Idanna Mama. All belongs to Agni. Swaha, I offer it. Prajapate Swaha Prajapate Idanna Mama. Idanna Mama. Na Mama. Act or the symbolic yajna itself is a moment for doing a sacrifice only. And to realize the true meaning of sacrifice, that the yajna is also performed. Now, if I have, say, 10 shirts of mine, and there's one shirt I don't like too much, and I give it to a friend of mine, will you call it sacrifice? No, isn't it? It's just clearing my cupboard, making way for something else, which I prefer. It's not a sacrifice. But say if I have one shirt, but I see, Arey, my friend needs it. This happened in my college. For the interview, my friend gave his own shirt to the other friend. He said, jao, no problem. Because that time, white shirt, black, pant and tie. That was so important. It was most important in that particular moment about the whatever placement interviews were going. And suddenly, people with tattoos also had covered all their tattoos, all the hairstyles changed. And this was so important. And at that time, this everybody was like, I don't want a single crease on my shirt. He said, no problem, quickly wear and give it back to me. And he waited inside, waiting for the friend to come back from the interview, then wore the same shirt. You're not worrying about any creases or what. This is something where you are having something and you're giving something which is precious. That is sacrifice. It is not a barter. It is not an exchange. I gave this, so you give me this in return. In relationships also, in love also. Do you give something to get something in return? Or it itself is an act of sacrifice? It's giving. It's not about taking, isn't it? It's like my mother has made so many aloo parathas. Now I have started earning. So I will go and here's your bill. For so here I am clearing this debt that I had. Can it be cleared? Can a son clear the debt towards parents? Runa. You say everybody has a runa in life, so these runas have to be cleared. Like that, can you clear a debt towards your parents? Pitru runa, matru runa, guru runa, or even to the divine. If you recognize you are indebted to the divine, what will you say? You will not say, give me this, give me that. You'll say, thank you, thank you. That will be the best prayer. So Krishna is saying the same thing, that unless done in a state of sacrifice or in a state of yajna, all actions lead to karma bandhanas, and these karma bandhanas, we will see them later. Means the flux of how a person gets trapped in karma bandhana. But its essence of sacrifice is mentioned right now. It is being introduced. He says the Srishti was also created as an act of sacrifice only. What was the sacrifice? They call it Adi Yajna. It will come later on in the Gita. We will look at it that time. Why is it a sacrifice? Logically, it seems like a sacrifice only, isn't it? Brilliant Brahma or creator who is having no limitations suddenly is getting limited, creating what is created a Srishti like this. We see so many problems in this Srishti. So somebody has, lowered a status from there, that high consciousness. So it's actually a sacrifice. Why is it? Is it a conscious cosmic sacrifice or it was an unknowing one? Those are things we'll have to see later. But let us continue. Now, Krishna says, Sahayagnaha prajaha sushtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvamesha vostva ashta kamadhuk. Brahma, the progenitor, through the act of sacrifice, bore the first living beings and put forth this edifice. He said, as from sacrifice, you have all originated. Through sacrifice, your life's evolution will be actuated. Again, Brahma created this Srishti through an act of sacrifice, and he planted this rule of sacrifice. You have originated through sacrifice, your evolution will take place through sacrifice. Devas also started doing tapa. They started doing various sacrifices to raise their bal. Asuras also started doing the same thing. But sacrifice leading to progression, evolution of an individual through sacrifice. This is the rule. My question is, have we grown in our life because of the sacrifices that we have done? If we go back in mind, if we go back to memory, are there sacrifices that we have done in life? And have they helped us? Have the sacrifices made us better? If yes, can anybody share some sacrifice? Yes, Renuji. Yes, ma'am.
Of course, being a mother.
Okay. All right. So a lot of sacrifices have to be done in raising the child. It was not
Yes.
like a burden. Oh no, what is this? What a trouble I have to. Why only this happens to women? Why not men? This kind of feeling did not come.
No. And sometimes we are not aware of the sacrifices also. I
Uh,
have made a sacrifice that doesn't, it's not
Feel like a.
palpable. It is not palpable. You cannot say that I have made a sacrifice, but I have grown. Being a
All right.
mother, grown.
Okay. You've
Since you are
grown.
telling that word, you're spelling that
Yeah.
word, you're making me ready
Sacrifice.
for the sacrifice, but it's
Yes.
not a sacrifice.
Okay. So
Something very
it
divine.
feels. Yes, it feels a joy, isn't it?
Yes.
And that is a joy in sacrifice also, in letting go.
Mhm.
There is the joy of sacrifice, and that is, if there is no joy, it is not a sacrifice. It is like a compromise. It is like a some kind of personal, it's like considering some sort of defeat and you're giving away. ठीक है यार, ये देना नहीं था, but अब ATG की मिल जाएगा तो मेरा tax exemption मिल जाएगा तो ठीक है. I will give this. A lot of people do donations out of for saving taxes, isn't it? That is all right. They're doing it. It is on the karmic level. It is leading to some betterment somewhere else. That's fine. But will you call it sacrifice if you're diverting funds to prevent taxes, which are again going to go to the government only? So, but this is it. The real sacrifice, as Renuji says, does not feel like a sacrifice at all because there is a joy. The joy of sacrifice is something which must be understood and experienced. But the truth is, sacrifice will make you evolve. When you are offering in the ahutis, you are offering into the fire. What does the fire do? It burns it completely. And when the yagna is done, what are you offering? You're actually offering your attachments inside. If you are conscious in the yagna, we're calling upon Agni, the messenger of the gods, to take your prayers towards the sky. Agni Mire Purohitam. He is the Purohit, the priest of the sacrifice. Yajnasya Devarutvijam, Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. He is that brilliant Hotar. He is the priest. He is the one who is taking the sacrifice to the divine. And he is also the inviter of the gods. He sends the invitation to come to us. So this aspect of sacrifice must be understood is what Krishna is saying. The evolution of the world takes place. We've all heard no pain, no gain. As simple as that. Sacrifice must be done, but real sacrifice, a conscious sacrifice, is actually a joy. A joy. A student experiencing the joy of learning. The joy of learning and not letting, like, how many opportunities come to divert a student from the path of learning. At sometimes children have to, no, I want to go to play, but no, I have to study for my exam. But you are sacrificing your playtime. Yeah, what to do? But no, that sometimes makes a difference. One particular participant, a young girl, she said, I learned self-defense. My mother used to send me every time I used to feel bad. What weekends also I have to go to some class. I had to travel so far to learn in the self-defense classes. I was just thinking, what is this? What all? I'm not able to enjoy like my friends. They go to the mall, they have their gatherings. I'm missing out on all. But she's that helped her so much in life later on. She's not just in the difficult situation, but in, shaping her life and her perspective and entire her principles. She says got firmly grounded inside of her through those acts only, what she did. She said, I don't believe in violence, but I am very powerful enough to do self-defense, and this is something I learned on the inside. But initially, it was my body used to pain, and I used to not enjoy. Most of my friends would also, push me away because I'm not hanging out with them. Yeah, this person is not very interesting person at all. But this sacrifice evolved her, and that is something we have to understand. Krishna says this is the way, and this has been set up in the universe also. Means if you want a sutra of the universe, yagna is a sacrifice. Without yagna, nothing will happen. Somebody who is not doing yagna, not doing any sacrifice, no, that person will not progress, unfortunately. It's just like that. Devan bhavayatane na tadeva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyaha parama vapsyatha. Through sacrifice, the gods you bolster and call upon their blessings with your fervor. Thus, mutually, you can together advance with the supreme blessings. All life you can enhance. So, Krishna is saying your spiritual fervor is received by the God. So the gods receive the strength from you by your bhakti. And what do they do in return? They offer you blessings. So again, your progress is also taking place. And paraspara, both of you progress and grow is what divine is saying. Because that is what the blessings are for. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Like that, even the devas are getting benefited. If you see here, the devas they refer to the typal beings. Gods it is like a post, like Indra was a post, isn't it? It is said man is also evolving God. Sri Aurobindo says that. So what everybody is evolving, gods also are moving ahead, and where are we having the option to stay back? We have to also sacrifice and keep moving ahead. And together advance is how the Srishti has been created, is what Krishna says. He goes on further. Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yajna bhavitaha तैर्दत्तान् प्रदायेभ्यो यो भोक्ते स्तेन एव सह. When through sacrifice the gods you impress, all your desired enjoyments they shall bless. These enjoyments to the Supreme, whoever doesn't offer, such a person is not but a thieving beggar. Krishna says, through sacrifice, what happens? You impress the devas. And what happens? Devas get impressed, give the blessings. But these enjoyments to the Supreme who doesn't offer, such a person is not but a thieving beggar, a thief and a beggar. The results that you are getting, what you are getting from the divine, again, don't get attached into it. If you take it for yourself, as the Isha Upanishad says, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjitha Ma Grudha Kasyas Vidhanam. Recognize the owner. Who is the owner? The divine is the owner. Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. Whatever there in the world, living, non-living, everything in the world. Tena Tyaktena Bhunjitha. Means sacrifice, do that yajna, tena tyaktena bhunjita, means take the bhoga also, enjoy. Enjoy that sacrifice, enjoy what is there. Ma grudha kasyas vidhanam. Means whatever comes to you naturally, experience that joy, but do not lust after somebody else's wealth. Who is this somebody else? Well, it is divines only. Is this point clear here? What is said in the shloka? Yes? Yes, sir. Yes, you.
Could you please explain this with some practical examples?
Okay, yeah. All right. So, what we can say is our tendency of human nature is to always grab onto things, hold on to things. We receive certain things because of our efforts sometimes, most of the times it is the divine blessings that they come to us. And then we start getting the ankar that this is mine. This is mine. Whoever is holding on to that and not offering to the divine, that person is not only a beggar, he's also a thief. Because he's been begging and praying, give me this, give me this, give me this, and then he's still holding on to himself with ahankar, using it for selfish purposes. If you look at the beautiful Rudram and then there's followed by Chamakam, it begins with Shan Chame, Mayash Chame, Priyan Chame, Nukamash Chame, Saumanahas Chame, Bhadram Chame, Shreyas Chame, give me Yasha, give me Shreya, give me what is right. It is all asking, but it is what for is it being asked? It's not for the self, it is for the service for the world, it is for making betterment and offered back to the divine, whatever comes to you. But if you don't offer, you are not only a beggar, but you are also a thief. You are a thieving beggar, means you are not only begging and getting, but you are also stealing. That is what this shloka is talking about. Dr. Atulji, was this example anyway okay?
You mean to say that whatever we do is for the greater good of the society? That is what.
Yes. Offer it back to the divine. Like now, for example, if I just have to give one more example, you see, there was this person who was doing a dana. Dana is a punya karma, isn't it? People say it is important. Dana must be done in life, whatever type of dana. Those who have wealth can distribute wealth. Those who have knowledge can share vidya dana also. Those who have a lot of physical strength, they can do shrama dana also. So it's considered a punya karma. So there was this person who was doing dana. And while doing dana, his eyes were all down. His eyes were down and he was just giving whatever he was giving to the people. Now a person observing him, he said, "Hey, what is this person? He's looking down like he's feeling guilty and he is doing a good punya karma. His head should be high. Only a thief should look down or feel guilty about it." So he just said, "What is this? Why are your eyes down when you're doing this punya karma?" As if you're ashamed. That time he said, "देने वाला कोई और है, भेजत जो दिन रेन, लोग भरम हम पर करे, ताको नीचे नैन." The giver is somebody else. I am in this position to give because somebody else gave it. The owner is there. But the owner is not in the front. I am in the front and people are praising me and not the owner. So I am feeling ashamed and I am looking down. So that is the bhava. That is a bhava where a person is not holding on to that also. And that is the real state of yajna because beautifully Manisha is written, Tera tujhko arpan kya lage mera. Or in Sanskrit, Twadiyam vastu govindam tubhyameva samarpayet. What you have given, give it back to you. That is the attitude. But if you hold on to it, then you are in a fault because your ahankar has come in between. And that creates different types of sanskaras. Sometimes that creates an entirely different line of marga. If you look at the stories of asuras, well, they did tapa. They did tapa. But what did they do with the blessings? Not loka kalyan. They used that blessing only for self. And that is why they had to be brought to justice afterwards, because that broke the simple fundamental principle of this life only. And that is what Krishna is saying here. Is that okay, Dr. Atulji, with this example?
Yes, yes.
I would
Thank you.
like to
Thank you,
share
sir.
one.
Yes. Yes, Renuji?
Yes, I would like to share one.
Okay, yes, ji.
What I feel that we are loved by our
Ha,
Almighty.
yes.
But when it is our duty to love others, we start judging.
Ha. Yeah.
We start judging that that person hasn't given me, so why should I extend my hands? But when we look at our selves, Almighty doesn't uh, judge while giving love to us. We are loved
Yes.
by the divine. So
Yes.
why
Yes.
should we not just give with both the hands, with open
Absolutely.
hearts?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely, Renuji. It's just like that in the Kavali also. तूने क्या बनाई, तूने क्या सजाई, सब किया है तो उसने, तूने बातें बनाई. He has created that ecosystem for you to flourish. You have only taken credit, which is not yours, which is belonging to somebody else. At any time in our life, also, can we say I am a self-made person completely by myself? No. I have so much runa, so many people, so many things, and if I get any credit, the credit should go to every person who has created it. Because this is how our world right now we are enjoying a technology. Technology is the product of Yagna only, no? So many sacrifices of so many scientists, they might not have, they would have made personal sacrifices to develop a particular technology, only for that technology to become obsolete in one day. Some people have spent years doing research and suddenly one new technological advancement takes place and that entire years of research goes waste. But it does not go waste. This research has contributed, this each and every step, it is actually you're passing on the baton. So this must be recognized, and we should not try to only take credit because it's childish also. It will also not, promote or make us grow or evolve. We'll look at one more shloka and then we'll stop. If anybody has any questions after the Shanti mantra, you are welcome. Krishna goes on. He says, Yagna Shishta Shinah Santo Muchante Sarva Kilvishaihi Bhunjate Te Twagam Papa Ye Pachantyatma Karanat. After the sacrifice, whatever is the undistributed leftover, the good who are free of sin, eat the oblation's reminder. The evil offer only to themselves to eat the food and only consume sin. Their actions accumulate no good. That is a Swartha and Niswartha approach. A Swarthi person will only think about the individual, but the Niswarthi person will not think that way, even after sacrifice. Why just look at the prasada in the house when it is made? Mostly the mother or somebody who has made the prasadam, they will take it last after giving everybody else. Why is that? They say, no. Children will start running first to eat it and you say, no, no, don't eat now, don't eat now. No, no, where God is not going to eat. You allow me to eat. No, no. First we are offering because we are trying to train the children this habit of not only patience also, but the spirit of offering. Offer it with love because it is important in life also. My mother used to make the best food, and many times I'll eat like a greedy person. I would eat all of it, but not even say it is very nice. But in the end, very little would remain for my mother, and then I would feel, Arey, why I didn't eat? I should have left some more for her. I would go and tell her, she says, no, 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 you ate. No, my stomach has got full. How is it possible? Is there some earlier there was a connection by umbilical cord. Now that is not there. How is it going? Well, for a person who is doing this in a Niswarthi manner, they understand. They give the share, let everybody receive the share, and they experience something else. And even if they may be eating little, no, that little will be having a lot of punya inside of it without their knowledge, and their stomach will get full with even a morsel. It is something like that. And that is the what we can say essence of what a sacrifice is. But those who are greedy, they are going to consume something else also along with the food. And that is something which is not required. So with this, we'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Anybody has any queries, you are most welcome after that. Hari Om. Sarve Bhavan. Oh, sorry, we did not have the summary also. I missed the summary. Sorry. Today I just. Can someone please share the summary? Yeah, Hari Om. Yes, please. Anybody, something what we saw today? If you can just share some points. Yes. Anybody? Anything?
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Chaitanya.
Yeah. Today we started with maybe Arjuna was a little confused. He said, "You need to tell me what is right for me." I mean, you on one side you're talking about spirituality, or on the other side you're talking about doing this war and fulfilling my karma. So he said, please tell me what is actually right for me." And then Sri Krishna explained about the Naishkarma Siddhi, how you should be doing the karmas without getting trapped in karma bandhanas, and then not allowing wrong sanskaras to get created out of it. Then he also told about yoga being about transcending, not forcefully or harshly doing something. It has to come from inside rather than enforcing something and being different from outside, but not being able to change from inside. So we talked about that. Then I think, yeah, we also talked about the sacrifice. So if we perform our actions in the way of sacrifice, I mean, there are two ways to it. I think first is you need to do your yoga as in yoga is perfection in doing your work. So you do your works perfectly, and also then offer those works, those actions in the form of sacrifice, which are then received by God. In turn, they give you the blessings, which that prasad that you can again you use it for self, but as well, but also for the betterment of the world. And then by that way you are actually offering it back to the divine itself. So it's like tera tujhko arpan. I think Manisha ji has said it in a very good way. So instead of being selfish, we need to offer it back. We need to also think about others, and we need to experience that joy in sacrifice rather than just trying to hold on to it by ourselves. And the reason why this sacrifice has been is so important is because Brahma has created this srishti out of a sacrifice. I think that we are going to look at later. But so that is a kind of rule that it is through sacrifice only that evolvement, that betterment, and that progression is going to happen. So that is the reason that sacrifice is important. So that is the way to go ahead.
Yes, Hari Om, Chaitanya. Thank you very much. That was a beautiful summary. Yes, so it is what we receive, we distribute, and our share we take it last. There's actually a Devi in the Rigveda. Her name is Dakshina. She's a divine distributor. She distributes the shares to each and every person. The bhag of the devas are given to the various devas. The bhag of the hotar is given to the hotar. It is something like that. We must understand, and that for doing that also we shouldn't have swartha inside. That is where we will be able to distribute right, and we will remain free. We will remain joyous. We will remain blissful. No negative consequences.
Mukta Sangha, I think that
Ah,
part I
yes,
left. Yeah, Mukta Sangha,
yes,
and
yes.
also the part that inaction is. I mean, the action is always better than inaction, so you can't avoid
Yeah.
karmas. So
Karmas
yeah,
cannot be avoided. Yes, Chaitanya, absolutely. And Mukta Sangha Samachara is a very beautiful aspect. Free union. And it will be beautiful in life also if you have this relationship of Mukta Sangha. There's understanding also and there's freedom also. When will that happen? When both have it's like both lovers practice one directional love in a state of sacrifice. I'm not doing this so I get something in return. It is something like that. In friendship also. It can happen in your relation with your Aradhya also. If I'm in so much difficulty, I need something. But I have Shraddha in my Aradhya that Aradhya will give me when it is right. So my prayer will continue to remain the same as thank you as the only prayer. Then use me for everything. For this life, for this day, for this moment. Sometimes the greatest prayer is just gratitude only, expression of gratitude to the divine. Because we know the story of Sudama, isn't it? How his life got transformed without his knowledge at all, completely. Because there's a time, there's a kala. In the sadhana also, the kala is very important. Sometimes the difficult moments come for testing us. They are sent by the divine only for bringing about our evolution. We take it in the right spirit, then we can grow and progress as well. So I conclude with the Shanti mantra. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम हरि
Hare
ओम
Om.
हरि ओम जी नमस्कारम एनी क्वेरीज यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम हरि ओम
Hari Om ji, Hari Om.
हरि ओम जी नमस्कार हरि ओम
Hariom, sir.
हरि ओम
Hariom.
हरि ओम हरि ओम
Hari Om.
हरि ओम
Hariom.
हरि ओम हरि ओम जी नमस्कार हरि ओम